Our lead story tonight, well on the road to 2024, it's clear every opposition leader is jostling to establish pole position. Today, the announcement that Arvind Kejriwal will launch his Make India #1 Yatra from Haryana on the 7th of September. Now, that's the same day Rahul Gandhi will launch the Bharat Jodo Yatra with Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. This comes as the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has said that, well, everyone in the RSS is not all bad. That's evoking strong reactions, and the BJPs attacking the Telangana Chief Minister and Bihar Chief Minister for their Chaliye Baithe press conference.
After 4 days of speeches, protests, counter-protests and even a dramatic face-off, Delhi's Aam Aadmi Party government finally held and easily won the trust vote.
मैं सामान्य सा आदमी हूं, एक मिडिल क्लास का सामान्य से परिवार में पैदा हुआ, आईआईटी गया, आज मेरे दोनों बच्चे आईआईटी में पढ़ रहे हैं। मेरा आज एक ही सपना है कि जो शिक्षा इस देश ने मेरे को दी, मेरे बच्चों को दी है, वो शिक्षा मैं इस देश के हर बच्चे को दिला पाऊं मेरी जिंदगी में।
However, Arvind Kejriwal has thrown a new political challenge to the Congress. He's announced a Make India #1 Yatra, which he will start from Haryana on the 7th of September, the same date that Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra will also be flagged off by the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister.
भ्रष्टाचार में पकड़े ना जाएं, हम जेल जाने से बचने के लिए तरह तरह के प्रपंच कर रहे हैं। ये चलने वाले नहीं हैं और मुख्यमंत्री जी खुद इस भ्रष्टाचार में शामिल हैं।
As the Congress prepares for Rahul Gandhi's big Yatra, it has announced that Rahul will sleep in containers during the 148-day-long Yatra as a way to connect with people. But the Congress is also facing more rumblings, this time over the electoral rolls for the Congress president's election. A number of senior party leaders, including Manish Tiwari, Shashi Tharoor, Karti Chidambaram and Anand Sharma, have demanded the publication of the rolls and more transparency. The party says all contestants would be given the list, but it will not be shared on the website.
Rolls, electoral rolls are not provided on the roads of Delhi. Do you think chai wala or a person selling golgappas would be providing you with electoral rolls?
A padyatra never seen before, because some people do padyatra, some people do yatras in Volvo buses, as we know, but this is a padyatra. He's going to walk from Kanyakumari to Jammu and Kashmir.
Meanwhile, the opposition seems to be all over the place. A day after KCR and Nitish Kumar spoke of forming a main front against the BJP, Mamata Banerjee in this video can be seen praising the RSS. However, she has not officially responded to this, but the video clearly shows her saying that RSS is not that bad. The Congress has also not spoken.
আরএসএস এর নাম করে আরএসএস এত খারাপ ছিল না এবং এত খারাপ বলে বিশ্বাস করি না। এখনো ওদের মধ্যে কিছু ভদ্র লোক আছে যারা বিজেপি কে এভাবে করে না সাপোর্ট, তারাও একদিন সব ভাঙবে।
Kejriwal is pressing on with his own ambitions and has said that he will meet M.K. Stalin in Chennai in the backdrop of several non-Congress opposition leaders reaching out to each other in the run-up to the 2024 general elections. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And the BJP, meanwhile, has attacked Nitish Kumar and KCR for the whole back and forth on Chaliye versus Baithe when they were asked on who would lead this so-called main front, which Nitish Kumar had said that they will be looking at for 2024. This, of course, as he's launching a new national campaign. But KCR's son has hit back saying at least we have press conferences.
ऐसा देखिए मैं कौन होता हूँ। अब चलिए एक मिनट बैठिए। 50 मिनट हो गया आपका। बैठिए मैंने प्लीज मैंने बता दिया, मैंने उनका नाम लिया तो आप बैठिए। अब चलिए रे, झूठ मूठ नहीं आप इसके चक्कर में मत पड़ेंगे। अरे भाई ये सब छोड़ कर दीजिए, आप बैठिए ना सर। बैठिए प्लीज। सबके बारे में कह रहे हैं कि सबको हम लोग यूनाइट करने की कोशिश करेंगे। जी बैठिए ना। हाँ हो गया, चलिए ना, छोड़िए जी। अरे बैठिए ना सर, चलिए ना। बैठिए पॉलिसी बता रहे नहीं सब बैठिए ना। चलिए
That press conference fascinating to watch, but just a day after that, Nitish is making it clear he may be all about Challiye, but he's got big plans coming up, Niti.
That's right. I think you can see, if we zoom in on that poster, it's a direct sort of launch of Nitish Kumar's national ambitions, his national campaign, and it's a direct dig at Mr. Modi, Jumla nahi hakikat. And this is the second time that he's indirectly taken on the Prime Minister. He did it when he broke that alliance with the NDA in Bihar, when he said, of course I don't have prime ministerial ambitions, but what about the people who came to power last time? Will they come back in 2024? So Tejasvi Yadav, his ally, his deputy, has already said that he has all the best qualifications to be Prime Minister. So you have him, you have KCR, who clearly has ambitions, and you have the Aam Aadmi Party, which is clear that as far as they're concerned, it's a battle between Arvind Kejriwal and Mr. Modi in 2024. So everyone's throwing their hat in the ring, and perhaps the Challiye Baithiye video we saw really reflects the state of the entire opposition at the moment, Sonia. Who is going to be the opposition's face for 2024? And that remains the key question that's going to muddle everything.
Right, so that's Nitish's new campaign launch there. But let's go across now to the latest that's happening in Jharkhand. Saurabh Gupta reporting. Saurabh, today now it's been a week, 1 week since the governor got the recommendations of the Election Commission on what the fate of the Jharkhand Chief Minister should be. But there's really been no action yet, or nothing, it's not been made public yet. What's the latest information?
Well, Sonia, the latest is that the delegation of the ruling alliance, including ministers and MLAs, have met the governor and pushed him to take a decision. He simply cannot sit on it, is what they believe, and they're asking him to take a decision one way or the other. Now, what are Hemant Soren's options? Well, if he's disqualified only and not debarred from contesting, then of course he can resign once he's disqualified, get elected as the majority group, and then get elected as an MLA within 6 months, and that would mean his continuance in office as Chief Minister. If he's debarred, then it gives rise to a whole new problem. But the legal position on this is that this is an offence that doesn't carry the punishment of debarring of contesting elections, yes, but only disqualification, which is why Hemant Soren is confident that he will find a way out of this political situation and continue in office.
Right, so that delegation meeting the governor today, but so far the governor not saying anything, even on the letter they've given him, saying that selective leaks are coming out of the governor's office. We'll wait for an update which comes from Raj Bhavan, Saurabh, but let's just go across. While we're looking at politics, here's the reality of what is happening in states across India. And this really is the main focus. In a shocking incident of medical negligence in Madhya Pradesh, a 5-year-old child died waiting for medical attention in his mother's arms. The doctor said he was delayed, but this is the reality of what's happening.
A distraught mother crying for help as she watched her 5-year-old son die on Wednesday outside a government hospital in Bargi in Madhya Pradesh's Jabalpur. The boy's family alleges that despite waiting for hours outside the hospital, not a single doctor attended to the ailing child, who had high fever from burn injuries.
बच्ची को बीमार था तो मैंने लाया तो यहाँ पे कोई व्यवस्था ही नहीं हुई थी या कोई था ही नहीं.
Equally shocking, this response by the doctor on duty at the hospital, who said he or nurses were not present at the time because of a festival the day before.
आज हो गया लेट कल वाइफ की वो उपास गया भी इसलिए था मैं यहाँ से.
ना आपके यहाँ पे फार्मासिस्ट है, ना आपकी टेलीकॉन्फ्रेंसिंग वाले कोई आए हुए हैं, कोई स्टाफ ही नहीं है यहाँ पे, मात्र एक
अधिकतर महिलाएं हैं और जो कल सब उपास हैं.
A senior health official in Jabalpur made a contradictory claim, saying the boy was already dead when he reached the hospital and that a doctor had attended to him.
उस बच्चे को जब अस्पताल लाया गया, जैसा डॉक्टर लोकेश श्रीवास्तव जो वहाँ ड्यूटी डॉक्टर थे, मेडिकल ऑफिसर हैं, उनका कहना था कि वो ब्रॉड डेड लाया गया. उन्होंने उसे देखा.
The incident has once again brought to the light the complaints of poor health infrastructure in the state and triggered anguish and frustration among local residents who claim that even hours after the child's death, neither the doctors posted at the health center nor the medical officer were available. With Sanjeev Chaudhary in Jabalpur and camera person Vikrant in Bhopal and Anurag Wari for NDTV.
Well, in other news, the day after India's Q1 GDP figures were out, the highest in a year but below RBI estimates, there have been lots of reactions. Priyanshi has the latest. Priyanshi.
Sonia, what was being feared after the GDP figures were released, that seems to be happening now. The 13.5% Q1 GDP growth rate was below estimates, even below RBI's estimate of 16.2%. And now two agencies have downgraded their GDP forecast for India. Credit agency Moody's has downgraded the GDP forecast for calendar year 2022 to 7.7% from 8.8% earlier. Goldman Sachs has cut the GDP forecast for the financial year 2023 to 7%, down from 7.6%. Now, there's a question on whether the Reserve Bank and the government will also downgrade their GDP forecast for this year, given that the Q1 wasn't as good as they expected. The markets also plunged sharply today after this below expectation GDP figure. The markets are also fearing more interest rate hikes across countries such as the United States. Sensex lost 770 points to end at 58,766, while Nifty lost 216 points to end at 17,542. That was the market's reaction. Another important data point that has come out is the GST figure. The GST collection figure for August 2022, and there's a positive and a negative as well. 1.43 lakh crore GST has been collected in the month of August. The monthly GST collection is above 1.4 lakh crore for the 6th straight month. If we compare annually, it is a 28% rise from August last year. But if we compare monthly, the collection has actually gone down by 4% from the July collection. Experts say that a large part of this annual increase is because of inflation, because of course GST is levied on a percentage basis.
Priyanshi, thanks so much for that update. But meanwhile, the other big headline we are tracking, and Vishnu, you've really been tracking this for, I think, decades now. You're going to see INS Vikrant finally now being commissioned tomorrow.
Being decommissioned, the new one being commissioned tomorrow. So let's talk a little bit about this ship, because it's a really important day for the Indian Navy. In less than 24 hours, the warship, the Vikrant, becomes INS Vikrant. That's the process. Once it's commissioned, INS is actually added. It'll be commissioned by the Prime Minister. That's the ship that's going to be commissioned tomorrow, as you can see. At 43,000 tons, Vikrant is the largest warship to have been built in India. It's also by far the most sophisticated, I would say. She's designed to embark 30 fighter jets and helicopters, including these MiG-29K fighters that you see on your screen, acquired from Russia. So that's all going to happen tomorrow, but there's something symbolic which is also going to take place. The Navy also gets a new ensign tomorrow, a new ensign tomorrow. This is what it's likely to be, the new Navy ensign. So this is the existing ensign. Let's play out the older one. That's what the government wants to replace, since it has a St. George's cross, right? You can see it's got a cross over there, and it's similar to the Royal Navy's ensign, which is on the bottom part of your screen. So the argument is that, look, let's shun a colonial legacy. So the new legacy has an octagon, which represents good fortune and eternity, rebirth and renewal, while the triangle is considered to be the strongest shape, so it symbolizes a powerful and mighty Indian Navy. Once complete, the new naval ensign will join the symbols of the Army, the Air Force, and that's the new naval ensign over there. Well, I was on the deck of Vikrant, and we've got a lot of programming starting at 8 tomorrow morning. But I did get a chance to speak to the new commanding officer of the warship. Here's what he told me.
The crew is very, very close to my heart. They are the best that could be brought in at this place. And if you recollect, from the first sailing itself, majority of systems were operated by my crew. And over a period of time, they have slowly got mastered it. One part is operating it, other part is maintaining it, and the third part is to undertake defect rectification. So we have come a long way from just operating to undertaking maintenance schedule to undertaking defect rectification. And today I can say with absolute confidence that the crew is completely charged up, ready and trained to operate this platform.
Watch our special coverage on the INS Vikrant right here on NDTV. But meanwhile, the major international story is a UN human rights report with a scathing indictment of China's treatment of Muslim minorities. The report, in fact, came out just minutes before the current UN Human Rights Commission chief resigned. China has responded strongly, saying the report is fabricated.
9 minutes before she was to demit office, the High Commissioner of the UN Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet's office, released a report on Xinjiang, calling allegations of human rights violations of Uyghur Muslim minorities credible and true. It focuses on the years of allegations about the abuse of Uyghurs and other predominantly Muslim communities in northwest China's Xinjiang province. The report says allegations of torture or ill treatment, including forced medical treatment and adverse conditions of detention, are credible. Allegations of individual incidents of sexual and gender-based violence were found to be true as well. Serious indications of violations of reproductive rights through the coercive and discriminatory enforcement of family planning and birth control policies.
但即便是这份非法、毫无公信力的报告，也没有敢在渲染新疆存在所谓的种族灭绝、强迫劳动、宗教压迫、强制绝育等谬论。可见美西方编造的世纪谎言已经破产。
China has responded sharply, saying, based on disinformation and lies fabricated by anti-China forces and out of presumption of guilt, the so-called assessment distorts China's laws and policies, wantonly only smearing and slandering China. Bureau Report, NDTV.
So far, allies of China like Pakistan haven't responded on that report on how China is treating its Muslim minorities. Let's see how that develops. But meanwhile, moving to the other big story which is trending online, Rubina, and that's of course Twitter's most awaited feature finally here in some form. What is it?
Yes, Sonia, Twitter's most awaited feature is finally here. The microblogging platform has announced that it is testing out an edit button that will be exclusive to Twitter Blue subscribers at launch. Now, the feature is expected to be rolled out to subscribers over the coming weeks, and here's how it works. The edit button will allow users to make changes to existing tweets for up to 30 minutes after publishing. The published tweet will have an icon, timestamp and a label mentioning that the text has been modified. A history of all the changes made will be viewable by clicking on that label. Now, avid Twitter users have been asking for the feature ever since the platform launched to make corrections to typos or factual mistakes. However, an edit button risks users changing the entire context of the conversation and limiting the duration and number of edits and including an edit history. You should, however, be able to help mitigate these risks. The edit button joins the undo button, which is also available exclusively to Twitter's premium subscribers. Unfortunately, the Twitter Blue premium subscription service is not available in India just yet. Twitter says that the test will start in one country and expand as they learn and observe how people are using it and how it impacts the way people read, write and engage with tweets. Sonia.
Right, we are already seeing tweets from Netflix with typos, and Elon Musk, well, saying this is what he had actually suggested first.
Right.
So let's see how this plays out. Thanks so much for that, Rubina. Well, as we end tonight, it's celebration time across India. It's festival season and every day brings out the different colors and traditions of different states, all in one idea of India. Today, Onam celebrations began in Kerala.
Very special to us because after 2 years we are enjoying our Onam.
We have come together out in the open and celebrating together, so we feel really happy.